Hey guys, I felt like making a new tier list since Azumarill got released, and now I have a better insight on the patch that happened, so now we can have some better opinions as well, since a lot of time has passed since some characters got nerfed and changed. We also had the Duraludon nerf and the Ninetales nerf, and yeah. So as always, if you guys enjoy these kind of videos, I appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to my channel. And as always, we will start with the lane tier list, and then we go towards the jungle tier list, splitting it into tier lists, because I think a general tier list on how strong a character is just doesn't really represent it well, so I was like splitting my tier list into two for that reason, because there's a huge difference between lane and jungle, right? If you put Cinderace in S tier, someone might be confused, but why? And then they pick lane Cinderace, but lane Cinderace actually is probably C tier, so that's the reason why I'm doing this. Alright, let's get started. Blastoise, I think Blastoise with the Water Spout is actually quite strong. I do think, we also see the tournaments being played. On top side, it is quite strong. And I think it would be lower S tier, but also sure I think S tier with the Water Spout Rapid Spin. The Water Spout buff was actually huge. Being able to have the entire duration up is quite insane. Absol for me still, I mean, if I was, if the player boss was me, I would put Absol in S tier. But obviously, yeah, Absol does have a lot of struggles as well. And there's just some better laners out there. But I think Absol is just a complete solo queue carry for lane as well. I'm going to put it in A tier because I think S tier might be a bit too much for most of the time. Blissey has seen a lot of play lately. I mean, in general, Blissey is between S and A tier. It just depends, right? If you're a solo queue player, I play it alone. It's not that good, but if you pre-mate already, if you do queue, triple queue with the Blissey, 5 and pre-mate, it is very strong, right? So it is a very strong lane character. It has very good last hitting as well. Safeguard is absolutely broken. Mamoswine, I think, is solid B tier. I think the character just still needs some late game buffs. I think early game, it's very strong, right? Everyone knows it. Swinoop is insanely strong early game, but it just falls off so hard. Crusse, I think people underestimate Crusse a bit, but yeah, he's nothing special really. He does shine a lot in score comms, but outside of that, doesn't really do much. So I'm going to put him in B tier, not the lowest tier, because I still think he has some sort of value and he gets things going, but nothing too amazing either. Now we go to the Cinderace. Yeah, Cinderace is just one of the worst lane characters in the game. Has no last hitting, no damage, early game, needs levels, so can't recommend. Charizard, same, pretty much the similar. I absolutely hate having a lane Charizard in my games. It's always like Timmy on his potion Charizard with his favorite character being level 6 at 5 minutes into the game on the lane Charmander, and it's just not a pleasure to play with. But yeah, it doesn't really do much. Again, also has no last hitting, right? So characters that are ranged carries that have no last hitting just struggle so hard in lane. Cramorant is not a bad laner, but the character just sucks. Like, straight up just terrible character right now. Like, he's a very strong laner, right? But he just doesn't do anything. He really just doesn't do anything. Eldegoss, I think Eldegoss is also still a solid S tier, even though Eldegoss got pushed away by Hoopa. Just because Hoopa's so insane, I don't think means that Eldegoss is a bad character necessarily now. I still think it's a crazy good character, has a lot of healing, a lot of mobility, insane Unite move, so yeah, I still would say this character is very strong. Greedent, I'm gonna put Greedent actually into S tier. He sees so much play recently, and this character is still so hard to deal with. Absolutely hate playing against it, and yeah, it's for sure very painful to face this character, and some people carry insanely hard with this character. Also sees a lot of play in pro play, right? Or in competitive play, so yeah, also quite good in solo queue too. Garchomp, I'm gonna put Garchomp into C tier, but B tier just because I think he does have a bit of, like, he doesn't matter too much if he falls a bit far behind. His laning phase is okay-ish. If he gets Dragon Rush, he can secure low blast hits as well, blocking into its side. But yeah, nothing amazing either. Probably some lower B tier. I would put him in. Gardevoir, you guys know I love playing Gardevoir. It does struggle a lot depending on matchups, but as soon as you reach level 5, you're actually quite good to go. And I do think it's a thing you can play in lane quite easily. Gengar, I used to have Gengar in C tier, but honestly, I've played some lane Gengar and it really doesn't feel that bad. You guys know I made videos on it as well. It's not as bad as I think it was. As soon as you get level 5 as well, Dream Eater, you can actually get a lot of things done in lane already. You can actually start killing stuff. But yeah, still nothing too amazing. And if you have hard lane matchups, you actually have just no chance, right? Like, the problem with these characters is, right, they're not that bad in lane if they play against characters that are equally bad. But as soon as they face characters, let me put this down a bit. As soon as they face characters who are just, you know, Ninetales, Pikachu, Lucario, they just have no chance. That is the biggest issue. If they face, let's say you're Charizard against a Cinderace, you can win lane. It's totally fine. But this is why they rate it lower, just because in certain matchups they just can't do anything. Greninja, another one like Cinderace. Yeah, can't recommend playing it. Don't do it in lane. It just takes too long. Lucario still easily S tier, one of the strongest laners in the game. Nothing has changed there. Machamp as well, if you want to play a strong melee character. I feel like this top is very unrepresentative of range characters right now, but we still have some coming. But yeah, Machamp also very, very strong. I think he's like a higher A tier, lower S tier, but he for sure is something very, very strong in lane. Mr. Mime, I think I'm going to drop into 8. Or like, I'm going to keep him in A tier. I think my last TLC was also an A tier. Yeah. The confusion nerf was a bit annoying, but I still think one of all of the laners, he's one of the stronger ones, and it really doesn't matter too much the way you can play him. Now we have Ninetales. I think Ninetales is still easily S tier, the Aura Veil buff. Just the jump she got and the lifesteal out of the Veil was good enough to just make Veil a absolutely insane ability. You can engage with it, you can disengage, reposition yourself, and you have some sustain as well. Yeah, so quite strong. Pikachu as well is still easily S tier. I mean, I think he's slowly dropping a bit in priority just because of Ninetales as well and other things being played. But yeah, nonetheless, he's still one of the strongest laners in the game. It doesn't matter if you play premates or solo queue or hyphen premates, he's always something you can pick. Slowbro. I mean, I feel like I have a hard time putting Slowbro in S tier, but like he's also somewhere between A and S tier. I feel like my S tier is just very, very big right now, but I think there's literally just like, there's so many, I think the game is in a pretty good state right now, balance-wise. There's a lot of characters that are actually quite strong and feel quite strong, so honestly, I don't think it's too surprising, but I'm gonna put him into a higher A tier for now, because I still think, yeah, he is very strong and for sure something very scary, but yeah. Not that much either. Actually, no, let's put him in S tier. Whatever, let's put him in S tier. Let's make our S tier super big. This just shows how good the game is. Maybe I should make another tier, but then it's like underrepresented because I think all these characters are super good. And yeah. Sylveon, I think, is a solid A tier. One of very underestimated character. Hyper Voice does a crazy amount of damage. And again, I'm going to show it. I do it every single tier time. If you play Mystic Fire, it's down here. If you play Hyper Voice Sylveon, it's up here. Don't play Mystic Fire Sylveon. I'm going to keep saying that until I pass out. Snorlax, I think, solid A tier. Can see some play again sometimes. Honestly, I think he's just a bit underestimated, but there's just a lot of characters right now that are just better. But honestly, besides that, he's still a very strong laning phase character. Heavy slam block can be still very, very annoying to deal with. Talonflame. I think Talonflame honestly can be a fine laner. It just depends on the matchups, but the character is just so broken, I feel like, that it doesn't matter. If he just gets some levels, he can do a lot, and yeah. Of course, jungle, he's much stronger, right? And you should play him in jungle. But honestly, I really don't think lane Talonflame is too bad. Just as soon as you get level 7, you can still just be absolutely insanely strong. Venusaur is still easily S tier as well. One of the best late game carries. Wigglytuff still S tier as well. Just absolutely annoying to deal with. Is Aura somewhere in B tier. I mean, he's not a bad lane. I promise that his lanes, like his levels are all way too low, right? But I would still rather have his Aura in lane than his Cinderace or something, so... Yeah, now Decidueye. I mean, I know we see some lane Decidueyes being played, but I mean, I just can't get with it. I think it's better than those characters just because Spirit Checker, as soon as you reach Spirit Checker, you have heavy impact and you don't need much levels out of it. Spirit Checker, even on level 7, if the enemies are like 1 or 2 levels up on you, that's crazy damage as soon as you get to level 7. The problem is getting to level 7 is quite difficult, so I'm going to put him in lower B tier, but for now, I'm going to put him out of the lowest tier there is. Serena. I think the Stompit is quite strong, not enough to put Serena into a much higher tier, but a solid A tier for sure as well. Dragonite, I absolutely hate lane Dragonite. I don't know why people play it, absolutely hate it. I wish no one would play it. Every time I have this, I just sigh and be like, oh, why do I have a Dratini again? Not fun. Trevenant, I mean, solid B tier, I think. I don't think he's one of the worst characters in the game as well. I mean, it's not like these are the worst characters in the game, it's just like they just don't work well in lane, and that's pretty much just it. Or Cramorant, he works well in lane, but he just doesn't do anything. Aegislash as well, these are just like the characters. I feel like Trevenant, Marmorswine, Aegislash are these characters that just are forgotten, and they're just, you know, I feel like they should just receive some buffs. Would be very nice. Hooper, easily S tier, broken character, absolutely insane. Yeah, no, I don't think there's much else to say. Hooper is broken. Hooper Unbound is insane. Insane laning phase, insanely good abilities, and yeah, very hard to deal with. Duraludon, I think, drops down to A tier in lane. Last list I had him S plus or S, and then my S tier looks way too... Do you guys think this S tier is too much looking? Let me please know if you think maybe I should make another tier, because my S tier is just so scared. But honestly, I think all these characters are super good, so it's very hard to rank them. Maybe I should rank them in this rank as well, but it's also kind of difficult. Alright, and now we come to Azumarill. I asked you guys yesterday in the poll, where do you guys think Azumarill will be? And like, you guys are dead on. It's honestly a B tier. I mean, I don't think this character has potential, and it can be quite good, but it's pretty hard to play. It's so squishy. But as soon as this character gets buffs, I think it's gonna see play for sure. It's always gonna take a bit, but yeah, it just needs to be tankier. It needs to be tankier, do a bit more damage, and I think that character has for sure very good potential. The moves are not really that bad. Her Unite move is super low cooldown, which is always strong, right? So if this character gets a small buff, you can easily see it being up here easily in just a flash of a snap. Just need some more base defense stats. Alright, that's it for the lane tier list. Alright, and now towards the jungle tier list, and this time I have an S+ again. I had this as well because I think there's just one jungler who stands out right now, which is Talonflame. After Darladon nerfs as well, I think Talonflame is just so hard to deal with. This character is absolutely insane with Brave Bird, Aerial Ace, his Unite move having no cooldown. He takes over the games like on cooldown. Absolutely hate playing against him currently, and he also sees a lot of play in pro play, competitive play, and yeah, this character just seems insanely strong. Then we have Absurd again, putting it into an A tier. I think it's quite strong, right? And but just not S tier worthy again, as usual. Cinder A is still easily S tier as well. One of the strongest carries, doesn't matter what. Same for Greninja, and same for Charizard. I think those are like the normal jungle characters that are just, you know, pretty solid always. He always have a nice carry, and they're pretty good level 9s. Alright, Gardevoir. Gardevoir as well. I think Gardevoir's gonna be higher A tier. It's just the problem with Gardevoir is that Talonflame. Talonflame just counters all these characters as well. That's the issue, right? Talonflame is so good into all of these squishies at jungle, and you're able to blow them up quite fast. Alright, next up we have Gengar. I think Gengar in solo queue is a solid A tier, but overall he's still just a B tier character. Takes a lot of skill to play, and the better the enemy team comp is, the worse he gets, and that's like this biggest issue. But Shem can also jungle pretty decently, but I would still just only put him into B tier. Now Duraludon, I think, is also still easily S tier as well. With all these characters, you know, just, again, another hyper carry that is quite strong, and not S+ tier worthy anymore, but still easily S tier. Very strong. I think Venusaur I'm going to drop him to A tier. I think Venusaur jungle is quite fine as well, but does struggle a bit sometimes too. Yeah, and I don't want to plug the S tier a bit too much again. Dragonite. So Dragonite is like S tier in like score comms and solo queue. I don't think it's quite S tier necessarily much, but honestly A tier I think is totally fine as well to place him in. Pretty reasonable. It's just not very a carry, right? Like I prefer having a carry in jungle, but he's still very good at securing objectives without any issues and totally works at that as well. Then we have, what do we have? Zeraora. Yeah, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it currently, and I just can't recommend playing Zeraora. Actually, remove this tier. I don't think I'm gonna need a C tier. These are like the lowest level junglers, I would say. And yeah. Next up, we have Blastoise. Honestly, Blastoise seems quite strong. I really have a hard time putting him though. Like, he does see competitive play as well. And I think in solo queue, jungle Blastoise is just not that strong. So overall in the game, I think it's a solid A tier right now. Thanks to, again, we have Water Spout and Rapid Spin Blastoise jungle back. And again, A tier doesn't mean it's bad. A tier means still very strong character. It's just a bit outclassed by other things, but still totally fine to go for. Then we have Decidueye. I think Decidueye is quite good in jungle, but Talonflame just eats this character like it's nothing, right? When you have a Decidueye against Talonflame matchup, it feels so hard to play for the Decidueye. I've seen it in competitive play as well. Those Decidueyes just have no fun playing against the Talonflame. And yeah, Brave Bird just absolutely, completely mates this character. What else could we put in jungle? I mean, we can fill this up like here, like Garchomp in theory can jungle, but I'm not a big fan of it. Or we have Azumarill. Azumarill, yeah, it's just not, I think it can jungle, right? But like, it's nothing too impressive. Also like B tier here. Doesn't really do anything special compared to other characters. The clear is actually still quite slow, even though you crit a lot. You really don't clear it much faster than other characters as well. And it just doesn't have the hyper carry potential that a jungler should have, right? Either a jungler just kills everything, or makes use of the high level lead like Talonflame or Blastoise or Dragonite. Those having a level lead do a lot, or they're just late game hyper carries, right? They can just completely carry team fights like Gardevoir, Venusaur, Duraludon, Greninja, Charizard, and Cinderace, right? So yeah, and it just doesn't do that. Same for Aegislash in theory, can jungle, not very impressive. Sarina as well. I'm just gonna put them all into here. But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to play them in jungle necessarily, but there's always metas where it can happen. Like Sarina jungle was quite strong, I think, when Duraludon in lane was quite strong. The problem is when you played Duraludon in lane, the enemies had a jungle Duraludon. You were kind of scuffed though on the 1v1 matchup there, but in theory, if you have strong lanes with a lot of damage, something like Serena can totally work in jungle. Something like Machamp, they can for sure work in jungle if your comp has a lot of damage outside or like on the lanes, and you don't necessarily need a carry in the jungle, because then you might want just something more supportive, something that has stronger early game that can make your lanes snowball games much harder. And yeah, that's it. That's it for this tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye!